There is the course that they're out on the Central Park today for 3 laps. We got about 2 minutes and 53 seconds to be exact to the start of the race. Let's have a quick little chat with Cy and James about what's happening. Cy Richardson's going to be doing the A race. Simon, how are you feeling about the race out there today? It sounded there a little bit of chat prior. Sounded like maybe a little bit nervous about who's showing up today.
Yeah, I am nervous. There's quite a lot of names on here that I recognise, people that I've raced with over the years, and people that I gather are doing quite a bit on Zwift at the moment. But no, it's good. I can't wait to get going.
Heck yeah, James, you're doing the B race. That's correct. And looks like you're probably the largest category, I believe. One of the largest, actually. There's a ton of signups usually out there. Going to be a struggle to find the front of the end of the race. Going to have to quick start. Are you used to the quick starts as Zwift?
I am. Well, I say that. I've done a few Zwift races, and they've all been pretty quick. But yeah, amazing turnout, and look forward to getting stuck in.
Heck yeah, make sure to be getting ready to go. Wind that thing up before we get going, that's for sure, about 10 seconds to go, because they start fast and furious. Cycle cross type starts out there, that's for sure. Now, for those of you that are watching over on Facebook, if you are having any struggles at all with the feed, we are focusing a little bit on YouTube today. There is an API issue with Facebook out there today, worldwide actually. If you are having any struggles with Facebook, that is actually the reason we have gotten an update on that. So there's a little bit more of a focus on the YouTube channel, Zwift's YouTube. Head on over to YouTube and find their channel. There may be a link, I believe, in the Facebook post as well to be able to watch the race. About a minute and 10 seconds to go for these 3 laps for that park perimeter loop out there today. I'm going to just quick give an explanation of the route as well as look at some of the signups I am seeing for the signups. Adam Zimmerman, U.S. national champion, out there. Kim Little, UK national champion, signed up out there. Adrian Timmis is out there as well. Riding for Cadence Esports, who is a ex-pro tour rider, actually. Lots of teams showing up out there today. We're seeing Fusion ECT out there with, it looks like 6 riders jumping into their BRT with about 7. Team Draft out there in Forest, Gavin Dempster, as well as Jason Henry's out there with 3 riders. Johnny Noblet is riding in it as well. Probably not. Maybe just his avatar out there, it looks like there. Mike Davis showing up on the day. Lots and lots of top riders, it looks like. And that's just to name a few, obviously, with 163 currently in the A category from what I can see about the takeoff here. It's definitely going to be fast and furious. 10 seconds to go to the start of the race out here today. And we'll be watching the start of the A here right from the get-go. And remember, everybody who does do this race is unlocking that GCN kit. Right from the get-go, we do have Wadsworth here. There he is, McGonagall as well from the BRT. Who's going to lead things out? As you can see, it is going to be, there was a rider right from the gun there from the start, but we did get mixed in with a few of the B riders here as they do start from separate pens momentarily. But as we do head forward, we are seeing, it looks like Jay Lousy. There he is. There is James, actually. About mid-pack amongst the bees, it looks like here at this point. 6.7 walks per kilogram, solid at this point. No hurry monitor on, though. James is going to have to get that going. But it's going to be interesting to see how this ends up working out for him on the day for the boys from GCN. Moving forward here, though, let's go ahead and see if we can find the front end of the A's with well into 910 riders that have signed up for the race today. Now, Side does have the lead beacon actually up there. As you can see the ride leaders beacon, the yellow beacon up there. We are seeing Mold's showing up on the day. Pro rider here coming out of the UK. I believe riding for Condor last year. We'll have to see if he is still on there, but good to see Jay Mold out there as well. Lots of top riders, but 113 is all we're at this point as we do move forward. So many showing up. Huge peloton to work your way through, as you can see, and Simon is not slowing down just yet. As you can see, left-hand side looking super focused. James with a smile on his face. Maybe that's his suffer face, though, as you can see, perhaps, but Simon definitely he showed up to race. I think he was even saying he trained up for a little bit this one prior to the race. Still moving our way forward, though, here amongst the pack. As we do make, it looks like Simon's actually sitting right around, from what I can see, 41st, now 30th place. So definitely making sure that he's well positioned, as this course has a lot of punchy climbs and you can quickly lose yourself amongst the riders out here. on this course. And there we are. We are with Cy Richardson now. 397 watts currently, 100 RPMs coming from him, as you can see here. And 6.1 watts per kilogram just to hang on toward the front end of this race here. Wilkin there now, as you can see. Husbald now as well. Bruno Vieira out there for the PTZ team, at least used to ride for PTZ. Maybe has swapped up a little bit. For those just tuning in, unfamiliar, if you haven't heard of Zwift yet, I'd be absolutely amazed. But those of you who might not know what is going on in front of you, these are all real riders powering these avatars in game out on the New York course that recently launched out here. We are in Central Park doing the park perimeter loop for 3 laps to try and take on the GCN commentators. Currently watching Cy Richardson's avatar here at 91 RPMs and 449 watts, hanging on the front end of this race. Up and out of the saddle there, as you can see, a little bit of a kick, making sure that it's not getting away from him. Jay Herman showing up here from Vision Cycling. And if this was a regular race, a race where we were just calling who the favorites might be, Jay Herman almost always one to be watching out for the W's out there. I'd be watching out for him to continue to try and hold on to this spot toward the front end. It does look like we have had a little bit of break in the pack there as the avatars are toward the back end there. As you can see, there is most definitely a little bit of a break amongst the riders here. So as we do work our way backwards here, I do believe we are right around 100 perhaps or so still amongst the lead group, as the split most likely happened from that insane pace that has been set right from the get-go toward the front end of this race now. Now, this is going to be one of the first challenges for the riders. We are looking at M. Vang here coming out of Norway, one of the KRT riders that you always got to watch out for. 8.1 watts per kilogram, solid sprinter Vang is here, and we'll see if he can hang on through the climb. But this is going to be the point at which the riders are going to start turning the screws. They're going to take this left-hand turn bend. I did race this just the other day, actually, and this is most definitely the most difficult section of the course. It is a slow uphill gradient that does increase as it goes and then tops out at about 8% as they take this left-hand turn. See Chris Durham out here for race 3R, actually. Good to see him out on course. Young U23 rider, always want to be watching out for. 190 beats per minute coming from Durham right now. 6.3 watts per kilogram at 486 watts. Now we're seeing 191 as it does rise. Here they do kick up into that 10% actually that it goes up to, as I most spoke about the 8 there, as you do see. Stu's now making his way to the front. Angner, always one to watch out for too, usually involved in the A-race sprints. Moldstead is out there. Good to see him showing up on the day too. Dempster there coming from Team Draft. Team Draft most likely going to be playing some tactics out there. Vision's out there, BRT, FSK also showing up there from Norway toward the front end of this race. Most likely going to start seeing the splits. I'm not expecting it to be a huge split amongst the riders just yet. I believe a lot of riders that have been able to make it this far will be able to hang on through this kick, but we most likely will lose a quarter of the pack after the insane acceleration that just took place. But we're going to have some efforts toward the front end in order to keep the speed high. 5.9, now 6.7. Vang now with the counterattack, as we're seeing here. KRT showing up to race out here today. As you can see the designation on the right-hand side of the screen, just realizing myself here that all in the GCN kit, so the designation between the riders and their teams will not be able to be seen quite as easily. So in order to see the team designation, I, on my end, am seeing the, whenever you're looking at the Zwift that I do have, you do see on the right-hand side their designation for their name that they put in game, as well as their country flag, and then you do also see their team name. We are seeing James Lousy now here, Williams, 4.6 watts per kilogram here, 133rd place or so. Doesn't look like he's made the lead group, as we do see a little bit of a split happen there in front of James Lowesley here. Well, I'm not sure he's going to be able to hang on. This is most definitely a elastic snapping point here for the group. The group is just a little ways up there for him. He's going to have to claw his way back, it looks like, to try and get back on terms with that. Maybe just hanging on toward the back end of that chase group in the B category. Cy Richardson now here taking up the lead, though, of this group that just made itself known toward the front end here. And we'll have to see how things work out with that lead group and how many did make the initial climb. There's a huge group actually in the A category right now, just crawling their way back actually to the front end of the race. You do see the effort there. I'm James there, all red in the face. Hopefully they have a little bit of wind movement there in the couple of fans on the boys there, as they're definitely heating up there, looking pretty hot at this point here. But we are seeing Simon, they're still super focused, as you do see his avatar well placed place there. Vang again up into that 8.3 watts per kilogram, though, making his way through these punchers. And this is a little bit more punchy section of the course. They're about halfway through, a little more than halfway through the lap at this point. Upper right-hand corner, if you are ever looking at Zwift, is the map. And most definitely a little ways more, about a quarter of a lap to go at this point as they do these little 1%, 2%, 3% gradients on the back end of this course. A lot of times this is a section that you can increase or try and make a break. A lot of times, me being so rolling, a lot of times if there's a pack chasing you down, there's only one or two of you off the front. Very difficult to get away on this course at those points. But if you do get a gap over the top of that significant climb, on the other end of the course that we just went through, that climb is at that 10%, usually the breaking point, and then you can increase that lead if you carry the speed through these punchier sections of the course here. So as you do see behind the riders there, most definitely a group on the chase. Let's go ahead and make our way through the pack here and see if we can figure out exactly how many have made this lead group compared to those that are trying to hang. A few B riders here that did make this lead group actually. Worthington here, 159 beats per minute here, coming from the BRT team. Adrian Timmis obviously in there along with Gavin Dempster. Those one that I'm watching out for. W Budge there also from the BRT team. Larson there coming from ODZ. Be watching out for him out there today. Lersving 2 from the Vikings team. Kim Little, UK national champion, though, always want to be watching out for. Always showing up, too, for these bigger races. And for some reason with Kim Little, it's definitely one of those things when he shows up for the championship races, he shows up for those focused races. Never count this guy out. And that's why, you know, he was not my prediction, actually, in the UK national championship last year. And for some reason, this guy, when it comes down to the spotlights are on, Kim Little can make things happen. So watch out for him. But I'm hearing that Cy Richardson is on an absolute attack, and Kim Little is not in the right place, actually, for that attack to take place, because he's at the back end of this group right now. Durham trying to follow that up at 10 watts per kilogram. As you can see, Simon going through the sprint banner here, maybe looking to pick up another power-up as they're going through. There is a 5-second gap, actually. Egner, Richardson now on the front. Richardson here, 6.7 watts per kilogram. As you can see, Herman going right along with him. Merritt, Egner, Hodgson, Dam is there as well. Fowler has made it looks like here. McGongle, and we are also seeing Fusion in the mix, I believe, here. No, excuse me, I misspoke there. It's just Merritt here on the back end of this lead group with Egner. 4 off the front, as you can see here. Merritt now making his turn at the front. They're going to have to hold a solid 6 to 7 watts per kilogram toward the front end of this pack if they're going to try and hold off this hard chasing pack of about 100 riders or so trying to take the win out here today. Still within the first lap here, as you can see, Merritt here, 6.5. Richardson back to the front at 6.5 watts per kilogram, and we'll give them a ride on definitely for their efforts. A green jersey there hanging out for Egner as they did that in 8.58 seconds through that sprint section now. Now Richardson here just sitting in toward the front end, taking their turns. They're starting to work together well here. Kay Hacker here now, though, trying to get back up to the front end of the race. Definitely hacking out some watts, as you can see. Hug there trying to make his way to the front there, it looks like, too, to try to go right along with him. They are not trying to drag the pack with him, though, to these wheels. They're doing this correctly now at this point. They are making sure the attack is strong enough that everybody following has to put in some sort of an effort similar to what they are throwing down here. Almost back onto the wheels there, but look at how strung out things are behind them. If they do get back on terms, they might have dragged a lot of this group with them, but it is splintering things behind them, though, for sure, at the back end of the main group. It does look like Kim, though, even though being out of position, did make his way very quickly back right to the front end of this group, making sure that as it does get caught, if there are any counters, it does not go much of anywhere. We are seeing here now 40 there as well. Another one coming out of the UK, super strong time trialist, and if anybody might be able to put some power into the engine of this breakaway, if it does end up sticking, it would be 40. It doesn't look like he's too interested, though, at this point to make his way to the front end of this race, being as I believe a lot of power was put out to try and get things back on terms. Draft here now still in the mix, though. Look at the group, though, at the back here, just trying to find a wheel, it looks like, at this point. And there is a little bit of a kick through the finish banner, lap banner, that is, not start finish, but the lap banner out here with that awesome GCN banner put in game specifically for this event here. So looking through though, what's going to happen? This is a very difficult, this is a little deceiving actually, how difficult this section of the course is. When someone attacks through that finish banner, that lap finish banner, it is definitely extremely hard to hang on through this little bit of a false gradient, and then it goes into this 0 to 1%, this false flat out there, and you can really put the hurt on through. This is actually one of the most difficult points on this course. If anybody just decides to ride a very high over threshold steady pace after an attack through that lap banner, this is the other point on course a lot of times where the breaks do take place actually. A lot of times people are caught off guard actually at this point because of that specifically, that they're not waiting for an attack here. It doesn't seem like a point where there's a big huge gradient, a big hill to take on, and next thing you know there's a group off the front. They're keeping the speeds extremely high, they're working together on that false flat, and you have to put out that much more though because of that little 2 to 3% gradient, where in the mind you're thinking, why is this so difficult and why is this going on for so long when I should be getting a great draft there? And it's because of that false flat. Great place to make things happen. It does look like they have a 4-second gap. Not sure it's going to be able to go anywhere here. We are seeing 4.4 watts per kilogram on the front end, 27 here currently from 29. They are going 2 miles per hour faster, it looks like here. We do have the silly American metrics here coming on through, but 40 here at the front end now, 5.6 watts per kilogram, as you can see. As we did say, if there was anybody who could cause this breakaway to stick, it is going to be 40 here. Now backing off to 4.1, getting a little bit elbow there and saying, hey, come on, somebody else do their work at the front end of this race here. Herman now showing that he might be able to do so. No, Herman sits in actually rather than doing anything. Maybe not the belief that this is going to be the move that sticks. Tobo believes, though, it looks like here, coming from ECT Fusion, it looks like 5.7 watts per kilogram from him coming out of Denmark. Herman now sitting on the wheel, though, not doing any share of the pulling, at least in the pulling that is going to have to happen to make this stick. Now maybe watching the broadcast and hearing that Nathan saying, no, let's see some work out there, kicks into 6 watts per kilogram, keeps the speed plenty high. Steve Young here from Innovation making his way to the front, 1.7 watts per kilogram, which is interesting from him. Simon been caught out now after the initial instigator. Looks like just sitting in, maybe not, maybe just chilling, thinking it's not going to stick. You do see him taking a little bit of a drink of water, so it doesn't look like a whole lot of suffering or even a whole lot of worry in the mind of Simon Richardson at this point. Doesn't look like James now steady breathing there, looking for a little bit more oxygen in the lungs, trying to hang on. Looks like a serious effort there coming from James now at this point. We'll see if he's able to hang on to the pace that's being set around him. The pain face is absolutely on for James, as it looks like the reality of Zwift racing in this virtual world definitely coming in to the legs in the real world there of James, looking like he's definitely throwing down some big watts now at this point just to hang on. Now back up toward the front end of the race, though, it does look like things are all back together. I no longer see a group off the front, I believe. It looks like the riders who did sit in and didn't do a whole lot of work to bring back that attack were correct. It wasn't going anywhere, and we are seeing Larson here from ODZ taking it pretty chill on the front end. 156 beats per minute for him right now. Things definitely calming down, but this is the calm before the storm. Again, heading back into that 10% gradient that it peaks out on. This left-hand turn, nice and steady now. Who is going to make the way to the front? We are seeing Mold now making his way to the front. Pro rider out of the UK. We'll see if that does if that does mean anything is getting set up here. Herman now with an early attack. Usually I do not see 8-9 watts per kilogram this early on this. Not seen at all usually this early of an attack actually on this climb. Usually it comes at the 10% at least at 9 watts per kilogram or so. Can he hold on to this kind of effort all the way through? Is it going to fade? 500 watts now at this point. S. Merritt there as well. Tolbo now trolley it up. All the big hitters now making their way to the front. Moldested's there as well. Now, as you can see, Butler's now coming away to the front. Gavin Dempster's there from Draft. Draft always a threat out there for sure. I'd be watching out for them with a national champion on the team. Chris Durham's also there, as you can see, but Herman still leading this out. The one who initially instigated here, but here comes, it looks like Merritt. Now, damn, actually, no, the next one Here comes the surge of that last kick over the steepest part, and now we are seeing Zimmerman there still making it, the U.S. national champion out on Zwift. Richardson has made the group. Worthington, Durham, Vang, Rowe, McGongle's there, Lurfstein, Nawson it looks like here, but there is the elastic. It's about to snap. Who is not going to make? We're seeing arrow powers being dropped when they need to be saved for sprints later. You know it's a difficult pace if the arrow powers being dropped on the downhill because they're getting dropped. Now Worthington, we are seeing McGongle looking for where the split is there in the riders nearby. As we do move our way backward, it does look like it is going to be Richards here leading things out. Budge, Moxon there, 164 beats per minute. Bergen actually from the Vikings team, usually not one who would get dropped actually from a pack like this, maybe a little bit misplaced in his positioning there, leading in to the climb. Now we are seeing it is coming back for a few of the riders here, but definitely going to be a few who are going to bite the dust off the mold, though, being one of them completely unexpected actually here. Will he be able to get back on terms with this? 4.7 watts per kilogram currently, now up into 5.1, looking to just hang on. 162, 163 beats per minute here coming from mold. Will he get back on terms? It does look like it's going to happen here. Hodgson here right onto his wheel. Hootman's there as well. Wilkin now looks like 181, absolute Sufferland. This looks like full-on nuclear on the heart rate, though. And Patterson off the back. This is the mayhem from the wattage bazookas that did go off at the front end up and over the top there. The initial attack there from Vision did break things up. Now it is slowing down, though. Everyone's calming down after those attacks, maybe looking for a little bit of reprieve from that, but not going to happen as we do have another counter at the front end of the race. It does look like the yellow Tron bike. It is Jay Herman again with Merrick Vane KRT trying to make sure that something is going to stick and that this pack does not stay in the 100 rider plus. Your chance is so much lower in a sprint of that nature. It does look like we do have a lot of comments coming through over on YouTube as well as Facebook. We're going to try and keep eyes on those as they are coming through. It does look like we do have all kinds of them. And getting a okay, got it. We are getting some productions here to get your comments as they are coming through so we can highlight what's happening over in the chat there. Good to see everybody hanging out. Lots of viewers, actually. We do 283 over at YouTube. Plenty of them over at, it looks like, Facebook as well, 234. So good to see everybody hanging out here. Welcome to the broadcast out here today. Looking through this race here, though, it looks like Herman is on a absolute rampage on the front end of this race right now. We got seeing Lewis De Freitas saying they look tired already. I believe, I think everybody's actually really motivated at this point to win this race. Definitely a higher profile race than many of them. This is a series of races as well. So this week being out on the New York course, next week we're going to be having the Alpe de Zwift climb. So going to be super interesting to see. And then the following week, race number 3. Not sure what the course is going to be like for race number 3 just yet, but make sure to be signing up for all the races to take on the GCN commentaries. Go, my friend Adam Zimmerman and Gavin Dempster coming from Leandro Messinillo there. I also saw a comment there coming from Carissa Min. We'll see if we can grab that in here as she's one of the admins actually of a lot of the Zwift Riders Facebook group. Does a ton of great work for the community. Actually, she says, I like how he has a big yellow target on his back. That's actually absolutely you're not going to lose Sai out on course, that's for sure. Huge yellow target right there. Everybody knows exactly where Sai is when he does go off the front. That'd be nice to have in real racing, actually. The guys that you're marking there, just have a silo over the top of them. They're not going to go anywhere, not sneaking off the front away from anybody. Sai here, I'm not sure he's sneaking anywhere besides to the back at this point. 6.5 watts per kilogram, maybe in a little bit of spot or bother at this point. We'll have to see J. O'Daniel right along next with him, Moxon, Dempster, and it must be a high pace at this point. As you can see, 400 watts or so, and it looks like Moxon from BRT here, even J. O'Daniel here, even throwing down a feather power up, most likely because they are going through the sprint banner, and that is a section of course where he can grab another power up actually. So most likely not very interested in that feather power up. Didn't have anything to do with trying to get away, trying to stay on pace. It's just the feather power-up, it's strong, but is nothing like the, absolutely nothing like the arrow power up when it comes to a sprint situation or a situation where you do need to hang on with an attack from the riders here. So Durham here now still toward the front. Kohler, as you can see, Richardson 4.5 watts per kilogram coming from him. I'm going to take a look here real quick. I'm going to see if Mr. Cy Richardson here is signed up with ZwiftPower.com actually. Let's see a couple of the we'll see if there's a couple of the riders that are on. It does not look like Simon. I'm not believing that he is. So if you're not signed up with ZwiftPower.com, it is a place to go for race results for most of the community events. So if you're looking for the results out there today, want to follow along with the race with live stats, make sure to head on over to the live tab, sign up for that, as well as connect your Zwift account through the backend API over at Zwift.com. Log in and you can find the connection for that over at ZwiftPower.com. Live results all the way through, as well as the results for each one of the races. Taking a look through here, Hoppy Marita's out there as well, riding for that Marita team in real life, fellow teammate actually of Kim Little, who is that UK national champion that we have been chatting about all day here today. And Hoppy, usually no love lost between those riders though, as back in the day, Hoppy was racing all the time during the winters about 2 years ago. This past year, I didn't see him too many times out on course here. Maybe a little bit of resurgence of Hoppy here out here during this next season. We'll have to see if he does end up showing up for a lot more races. And we'll have to see if he's showing up to trying to take the win today. We've seen him many times in the sprints here out there. Mountain biker right alongside Kim Little on that Merida factory racing team actually. So Cy Richardson still pretty chill here now at this point. 3.2 watts per kilogram coming from him. Not able to see the heart rate. It looks like there's no monitors out there to date for the riders. We are seeing a little bit of Alex Cole here coming for Innovation, actually cheering on Steve Young, and I'd be watching out for him for sure. Nicknamed the Python actually, and definitely one to watch out for the sprint. Heading into the bell lap though here, into that 8% grade. It is an uphill sprint too, so I'd be watching out for that. Going to be interesting to see how that ends up working out for the pure sprinters. Be interesting to see also, I mean, having the background in mountain biking, I do know that Cy does have a pretty good uphill sprint actually, so we'll have to watch out and see if the force in that sprint is going to end up working out for him. So moving forward here, Dempster, it looks like here. Leach now, as you can see. Tobel still in there from Fusion. And it looks like Husbal now from Fusion out of Denmark, along with Telbo, actually on a little bit of a pressure point on the front end of this race. Backing off, though, it looks like not super interested in leading things out. Leach now taking up the lead here from Team Experimental. Hotchin now, as you can see, Dam now all switching up here. And this is that false flat we talked about last lap. As we head into this final lap, we're going to have to see how people start loosening up the legs here between the riders. 3.3 watts per kilogram. Nobody's super interested in attacking. Looks like they're going to let it come down to a pack, either come down to a pack sprint, or it's going to be all about that climb on the back end of this course. That 10% grade did break things up plenty. Does look like we are down to, according to the time gaps over on ZwiftPower.com, I do believe we are down to about 38 racers, maybe 39 racers or so amongst this lead group. So definitely been splintered that last time through. I think we had about 70 or 80 the last time through. So I've seen a couple of chase groups out there, about one chase group about, it looks like 35 seconds back from the leaders, containing Kenan Hootman. It looks like Mark Worthington from BRT's in there. Peter Robertson, Neil Richardson is out there, as well as a few others. They have closed it down a little bit, it looks like, for sure, but still about 55 seconds now actually for that chase group. And another group behind that though, it is 109 back from the leaders there, containing Alex Cole, Reed McClure, as well as Vico Sorestic. For all that information that I am pulling it is over at ZwiftPower.com for those who are interested in seeing where the groups are at, where your favorite riders are amongst the group. Chase group number 4 is a minute 40 back, and is a much larger group containing about 20 to 30 riders, but it's very splintered at this point. Starting out, we had hundreds and hundreds of riders. Very difficult to make our way to the front. It is most definitely had the cream of the crop rising to the top here at this point between the riders, with about 30 to 40 that have made this front end group. Gavin Dempster draft here, always one to be watching out for the sprint, did win the EU finals, live finals actually, over in London. So watch out for Gavin in that sprint. Knows how to time a sprint well, and winning a live event and all the competition it took last year in that Kiss Crit series, Europe definitely took a lot in order to get to that series as well as win it. So I'd always be watching out for Dempster in any kind of a high pressure situation. Kim Little, definitely a favorite out there today. Kayland would have to get away, I believe, on the climb and work with some KRT riders. We are already looking at Tom of Kayland here out of Norway. Not usually one found at the end in a sprint in a favorable position, but if he does have the tactic out there today, we'll have to see if it can outplay the power situation. He's most definitely a solid climber out there, and I could definitely put I would put my money on Kayland out there if it was an uphill grind on the Watopia Mountain, but not sure it's going to be happening out there for the sprint today. It looks to be playing out to be. I'm not sure that this climb either on this back end of the course is going to be enough to let a rider like Kayland get away. Steve Young, though, if there is a favorite for sure, if it comes down to a pure sprinter's race out there today, we've seen him win plenty already out on this New York course. Knows how to time it perfectly, has the power. Does he have the power up, though, is the other question. Has he had the luck to grab an arrow? It's definitely going to matter with so many riders in this final lead group. Now making way to the front, this is going to be another telling point of the race. This is going to be a breaking point. They're going to be throwing down everything they can to drop off any of the spare riders that they possibly can, especially if somebody doesn't want to be a pure sprinter to hang on here. M. Dam toward the front here, 10.3 watts per kilogram coming from him, as you can see, 177 beats per minute on that 4% gradient. Has a gap of 3 seconds already. Nobody's really taking it too seriously, looks like, or maybe they just can't respond. As we're looking at Dam here, it looks like it's going out to 4 seconds, only 6.4 watts per kilogram. Kim Little, knowing this is a threat, making his way to the front, but not into that orange numbers yet, as you can see. Backing off, maybe believing that they can work together to bring back that 4 seconds. Now here come the feather power-ups, knowing that those are already going out the window here. There's going to be plenty of riders that are going to be seeing that and smiling if they can hang on to their arrow power-ups before the finish line. 5 seconds out, a single rider. Not sure it's going to be able to happen. It would have to be a Herculean effort here if it's going to happen, and I'm not sure it can, as we are seeing Hug here bringing it right on back. 4.7 watts per kilogram. Plenty of riders right along with him in order to keep those speeds high. Sai here with a smile on the face, actually here. James suffered, as you can see, head down, and it looks like Sai maybe telling him it's not too bad. Come on now, James. Let's get moving. We are seeing maybe a power-up being used there from Sai. He did hit something. It is a power-up. Interesting to see. He's been hanging on to a drafting power this entire time. No arrow power-up for Sai, actually, so going to be interesting. Maybe a little bit of suffering there from Sai using that, but it does look like it was on the attack, actually. 5.6 watts per kilogram coming from him. Now, they do have, I believe, one more banner to go through before they hit the finish line. Sai could get lucky here, roll the dice, and hit up a arrow power up still before they do end up at the finish line. About a half a lap to go. Sai Richardson still hanging in there with the lead group. Here comes Jay Herman, Vision Cycling. Bergen's there as well, coming from the Vikings team out of Norway. Riders from all over the world, 910 have joined this race from all of these countries you're seeing on the right hand side of the screen here, all looking for the W in this GCN series today, looking to take down the commentators. We'll see what's going to be happening between Sai. Sai still got the chance here. James, it looks like, did fall off a little bit early. We'll see if we'll see what kind of placing he does end up getting and if he's able to hang on for something solid out there. But it does look like there is an attack here coming from Herman right now. 9 watts per kilogram from him. Not looking for that sprint out there. Knowing that innovation has shown up. Knowing that draft has shown up with Gavin Dempster and Adam Zimmerman. Both of them very good sprinters out there. Definitely wanting to try and break things apart. Nobody willing to go with him, though. It looks like it's definitely a hand-holding type of day between a lot of the riders, not very interested in trying to work with anybody to make this getaway, just trying to put looks like most of their eggs in one basket out there. All those chips thrown on the table toward the sprint at this point. It looks like maybe lots of arrow power-ups still being held onto in that pack, as you can see. Looking through currently for the total, this has been a crazy race. The average watts per kilogram for this race have been out of this world. Usually you see things with a couple of riders over 5 watts per kilogram for the duration. This has been, I mean, there's like at least 10, maybe 15 riders over 5 watts per kilogram for the duration of this race so far, average in this lead group. Everybody else, the lowest watts per kilogram currently in this front group right now, I believe, is about 4.5 watts per kilogram. Everybody in this race has been throwing down a monstrous effort just to hang on. Everybody wants the W out there today. If you were hanging on with this lead group, you most definitely wanted to try and throw down that kind of power. It may come down to, though, who has played it smart, though, amongst these riders so far? Who has been saving, doving here out here, coming out of Norway here from Team Experimental? Only 4.5 watts per kilogram average so far. Is that just what he could handle, or is he playing it smart, sitting in amongst the pack? Again, another one that I'm looking through here. Actually, Jay O'Daniel there, 4.4 watts per kilogram come from him so far. It looks like still in and amongst the lead group, I believe. No, 16 seconds back, fell off in this last attack up and over the climb there. So actually it looks like in a favorable spot, though, if they are just saving. 4.7. Christian Moxon there, 4.6, as we can see. Steve Young, definitely playing it smart, actually. 4.5 watts per kilogram. Simon Nielsen as well. All these riders, a half a watt per kilogram or more under what some of these top attacks have been throwing down, actually. So definitely interesting to see what these riders are going to have left in the tank. On the 6% gradient, though, Simon not leaving it for the sprint on the attack. 11 watts per kilogram coming from Cy Richardson here. He's got a gap, 2 seconds, as you can see. The beacon is off the front. Are they going to go for the bacon, though? They're not chasing it. 7.7, 8 watts per kilogram. Can he get an aero power up? The question, is the RNG in his favor at this point? If he gets an aero power up right now and is on the tack still, it might be smart just to take down and throw that out there right off the bat, actually. 7 watts per kilogram continually out of the saddle, as you can see. Avatar just showing off the power all day long here. Hotchin now backing off, 4 watts per kilogram. Herman saying, all right, I'll take up the chase here. 6.1. No, not going to make it to chase. Going to make it a break. 11 watts per kilogram, making sure nobody is on that wheel. They got to be within 5 meters. S. Merritt still sitting in. He was within 5 meters the entire time there. Was able to get that draft, shutting things down. Sai, all of that effort there, looking like he's absolutely suffering on the face there. Mouth wide open there, trying to suck in as much oxygen as possible to try and make this happen. But the break is brought back, and it's not going to happen here for Richardson on the attack. Now, can he recover? Can he bring back enough energy into those legs to make this sprint? Bergen here now making his way to the front. 182. Vikings still in this race. Herman, of course, always to the front. Called it early. Always a favorite in these races. Now all the big hitters making their way back to the front, trusting that it was able to be brought back, and it was. Merritt, Herman, we are seeing Richardson just hanging on in the back. Moxon from BRT here with the fastest lap actually out here with a 12:03 from the BRT team, the Bolt Racing team. Richardson, it looks like here at the back, just looking the fade climb at this point. 4.7, looking for any kind of energy that he can possibly get to try and be involved in this sprint still. Fowler here out of Canada now. Dark Horse perhaps, unfamiliar with this rider. We'll have to see how he does pull things off here and riding unattached. But at the front end of this race, these are the riders looking for the positioning. And actually, as they go through some of the lapped riders here, they're being caught off guard. Merritt is off the front, actually. Kim Little here now, knowing that the lap traffic is going to make some confusion, knows that this is a serious attack, needs to get back on turn. Dam is here now trying to bring that back as well. Where did Merritt go? 4 seconds. There he is. Now it's going to be, it looks like 7.4 watts per kilogram coming from Herman and Hug to try and bring this back and hug that gap right back on in. Hug now 8.0 watts per kilogram. Herman now 8 as well. As you can see, it's coming into the last few K here. Actually, we might be within the last kilometer here. It's about to take last left-hand turn. We're actually in the last few meters here. 40 now. Here comes aero power. Dempster, 12 watts per kilogram. As you can see, Dempster leading out with aero power up. It's there, Gavin Dempster, Adam Zimmerman, Gavin Dempster, draft versus draft, and it looks like no idea because Zimmerman was right there at the end. It was draft versus draft. Adam Zimmerman looked to just nip it at the end. Not sure where Cy ended up. Look at the face, though. The pain is there coming from Simon. He tried going for it right at the end of the race there with about 2K to go. It was a valiant attack, but unable to stick it. It looks like Draft go 1-2. 1-2 on the day for Team Draft out there today. Amazing result for them. I believe we're going to have a little bit of interview, though, with the GCN boys once they get all rested up. They did that race in 35-minute race on that course. That was screaming. There was some motivation out there, and Simon beforehand was like, man, this looks like it is going to hurt. And you saw the pain in that room. That is for sure. James still hammering away here, looking to try and finish up. We'll see if I can get the live results here for James, actually, where he stands in and amongst the group here, as we do have eyes on the avatar, it looks like here. Looking for zwiftpower.com to give us a few. There's so many riders actually in and amongst this, so many riders in amongst this race that it's hard just to bring all of them in here. Gavin Dempster, it looks like, though, did just barely. You saw Zimmerman coming on here. I'm looking at the results here from zwiftpower.com, and we saw Dempster on that initial attack, the first one to jump, and he was actually able to hold off Zimmerman, his teammate, by 5/100ths of a second, actually. 500 of a second, less than it looks like, less than even a tire length between the riders there. Third place does go to Fusion ECT out there. 38, it looks like just 38/100ths of a second behind, actually. So Lars Hughesball, that is, riding for Fusion ECT. Kim Little, the UK national champion, right there, riding for Team Experimental in fourth place. Jep Tobel there from Fusion as well, looks like in fifth. We'll keep on going all the way through to 10th place. Nikki H there, holding it down for sixth. 40 there for seventh from Vision. Riding for Vision, it says, actually, 40. Interesting to see. That's a new development there. Steve Young there from Innovation there. Jonas Hermans then riding in for Vision as well for ninth. And then we do have Kaj Andre Doving for Team Experimental rounding out in 10th place. Solid results all around. To win the race today, it was a 4.6 watts per kilogram average from both Gavin Dempster and Adam Zimmerman, actually. Solid result there for those boys. 180 beats per minute, actually. 180 beat per minute average there coming from Adam Zimmerman for that race. Talk about difficult. Simon, I think a little bit of run for the money out there today. Difficult race, it looked like. How did that feel?
Well, it was one of those ones where when you're in the wheels, it's okay. But I was thinking, if I was going to try and win it, there's no way I could wait for a sprint. So I thought I'd have a little go at the end of the first lap, see how it was. Turns out it was quite hard. And then I thought I'd save it for the last lap when I hit it just over the top of the sort of the climb on the circuit. And I don't know, I gave it a couple of goes. But yeah, there was no way I was going to hold off a bunch out there on my own. So that was me done. But such good fun. I've been in a bit of a doldrums with my riding the last few weeks. And this, funnily enough, has kind of shaken me out of it. So it's a very well received little hit out.
Yeah, what I was wondering about each lap, did you notice the kicker? It was about a 10 gradient it came up to. That's probably where you were looking forward to as far as where the breaks would happen. I did see that initial attack, and it looked like that climb was a key place. And then as well as, obviously, those attacks that you were putting out there did splinter the group a few times. It looks like you lost quite a few each time that you did throw that out there.
Yeah, it's one of the funny things is that I didn't look back once, so you kind of never quite know what's going on behind. But no, I think it was kind of splitting over the top, and so you could go on the flat, I think. But again, the pace was so high that trying to kind of keep on your own was tough work. But like I said, just great fun.
Yeah, it didn't look like anybody was super willing to try and go with. A couple were trying to make that break happen. Now, it does look like we do have Alp the Zwift next week for the GCN Series number 2. Are we going to have you guys out there for that? Are you sure about who's going to be racing that? I'm super excited for that race. I'm not sure you're looking forward to it, though, if you are doing it. I mean, maybe you are a little bit in that type 2 fun kind of way.
Yeah, I would have loved to have done that one, but no, I can't, unfortunately. But we're going to bring Oscar Pujol, who is our 56-kilo climber extraordinaire. And then hopefully Emma Pooley as well, who is a 49-kilo climber extraordinaire. So we're going to bring our A team for that one. and see if we can mix it up at the
There
top.
we go. Heck yeah, setting up. You hear that, everybody? You want to take on for the climb Alp to Zwift next week for the GCN Racing Series. We'll make sure to sign up for that. 3 races. Today we were out on the New York course on the park perimeter course. 3 laps. We saw Cy Richard and James out there absolutely killing it. It was pretty amazing to see that sprint at the end. We did have Team Draft take down the win with Gavin Dempster, Adam Zimmerman taking second place. Lots of big names showing up on the day out there. Let's go ahead and before we take off today, that's going to be it from me here with Zwift, from Zwift Community Live here on Zwift Facebook and YouTube, as well as all of the ZCL places otherwise. But that's it for me. We're going to be looking at a course preview for next week. Make sure to sign up for that. And as always, everybody, great job to all the racers. Thanks for tuning in for the to all the viewers, and ride on.